gentlemen. I'm right here with Jay Calderon from Boxing Talk. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you guys follow this channel. Thanks.
What's up, y'all? It's Jay Calderon of Stand Clear Entertainment and Fight Hook News, and we're about to bring you this week's Boxing Talk. First, please hit that red subscribe button, hit that bell icon, that share button, that like button, drop a comment, put your email information in so you get all my notifications once I drop a new video, and we're going to get right into it. WBO middleweight champion Demetrius Andrade successfully defended his title with a 9th round stoppage victory over his opponent, kicking off Super Bowl weekend on Thursday Night Boxing live on DAZN. This was a fight that was basically a mismatch from the beginning of the fight when it was announced. Demetrius Andrade was in total control. He dominated his opponent in a one-sided fight. And after the fight, he immediately called out Billy Joe Saunders, the WBO super middleweight champion, a fight that Demetrius Andrade has been wanting for several years now. They were supposed to fight about 2 years ago for the WBO middleweight crown, which Demetrius Andrade now holds. But that fight got scrapped because of the fact that Billy Joe Saunders tested positive for steroids, and that fight was called off. Now Billy Joe is fighting in the super middleweight division, and Demetrius Andrade said that he is willing to go up in his next fight to 168 pounds to challenge Billy Joe Saunders for that WBO title. Now, Billy Joe Saunders doesn't have a fight lined up. You know, he is being mentioned for Canelo Alvarez next, but that's a fight that most likely he's not going to get. And I've been a fan of Billy Joe for quite some time. But I got to keep it real with you. I got to be 100% honest with you. Billy Joe Saunders has not looked good since his days of beating Andy Lee or even Chris Eubanks Jr. or even David Lemieux. This has not been the same Billy Joe Saunders in his last previous fights. You know, these fights, he's looked very horrible in each of these fights. Hasn't looked sharp, hasn't looked in great shape, hasn't had the determination and the boxing skills that we're accustomed to seeing this southpaw fighter. You know, Billy Joe needs a big fight opportunity, and this is a fight that's right in his stable. He's part of Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing Company that's also with DAZN. So, you know, this is an easy fight to make. You know, they have the other fight between Callum Smith, who's also a super middleweight champion, and it's a domestic rivalry fight between him and Billy Joe that would be a perfect fight in the UK. But that's a fight matchup that, you know, Eddie Hearn has been wanting to make but hasn't been able to make as well. Callum Smith is also in the running for Canelo Alvarez. We know that Demetrius Andrade has been gunning for the Canelo Alvarez fight, but Canelo has said that he does not want to fight Demetrius Andrade. He is just blatantly ducking Demetrius Andrade right now. You know, for whatever reason, he calls him a boring fighter. It's a fight matchup between the two best middleweights in the world, and this fight is not happening. Canelo has went up to light heavyweight, and now he looks like he's going to fight at super middleweight. So what is Demetrius Andrade going to do? You know, Billy Joe Saunders is the more likely fight for him to happen because, like I said, they're in the same stable and it's an easy fight to make. But is Billy Joe still ducking Demetrius Andrade? The money is on the table because Eddie Hearn has the big bank to back up Demetrius Andrade for any fight. And he's also made an offer for WBC middleweight champion Jermall Charlo. This is a fight matchup that I've been calling for a very long time. And whatever boxing fans like to say that Demetrius Andrade had the opportunity to fight Charlo back in the days when they were fighting at 154 pounds and Demetrius Andrade pulled out of that fight for whatever reason. We all know that he had promotional issues going on. Whatever he had going on outside of the ring, you know, it prevented him from taking the fight. He did not duck Charlo because he was afraid of Charlo. I don't want to hear that nonsense. You know, things happen for a reason, and he didn't take the fight, and we all know what was going on in his life at the time when he was having all his promotional issues, and he just didn't take that fight. You know, so Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo are two bigger names now than what they were a few years ago. They're both world champions right now that are undefeated. Their profile has risen just a little bit better than what it was back then. They're both multiple world champions, and there's a lot more money on the table as of right now than it was several years ago. So there's no excuse. Demetrius Andrade wants Jermall Charlo. He's been calling out for Jermall Charlo. He's been stalking Jermall Charlo for several years now, and this fight has not come about. Why isn't Jermall Charlo being boisterous right now? This is a man that has been outspoken throughout his career, says that he's never backed down from a challenge, and he's been calling out everybody, Triple G, Canelo, but all of a sudden now, while the money is more bigger than it's ever been in the pot, and it's been offered by Eddie Hearn, PBC is saying that they have not received an offer. Well, Eddie Hearn has done multiple interviews where he has stated that he has not sent an offer directly to PBC, and he sent an offer directly to Jermall Charlo. So Charlo has received an email. He's been notified on Instagram where he's had multiple conversations with Eddie Hearn in the past. So, I don't see why he is not responding to Eddie Hearn. Why is he not being boisterous and coming out on social media like he always has and said things, to the media about not receiving an offer? You have Oscar De La Hoya out here from Golden Boy Promotions saying that they had offered Jermall Charlo a very large sum, a very lucrative offer to fight Canelo Alvarez last year in 2019. And we didn't hear anything of that. So you have Oscar De La Hoya saying that they offered Charlo a fight for Canelo Alvarez. And you have Eddie Hearn saying that they offered Charlo a fight for Demetrius Andrade. But yet you don't hear Jermall Charlo saying anything about those offers that were made. He's not denying that he ever received those offers. He's not saying that it was a lowball offer, that it wasn't enough money. We know this for a fact. Jermall Charlo is not going to receive a $12 million payday like Daniel Jacobs and Sergey Kovalev did for Canelo Alvarez in their fights, because they got a very huge payday for Canelo Alvarez. And Jermall Charlo is banking on that type of big payday. But he's not going to get that. So if he's offered anywhere near $5 million to $7 million by Eddie Hearn or Oscar De La Hoya for these fights, this is the biggest payday that he's ever had in his professional career. I don't even think this man has reached $2 to $3 million in a fight, with PBC for any fight that he has had. Even if he had money that was given to him under the table, he did not receive, $5 million payday, $7 million payday. Those are still big paydays than what he has gotten so far. So why is he not jumping for the opportunity? We already seeing PBC sending over their second level tier fighters over to ESPN, over to the Zone. You had guys like Dominic Wade, guys like John Molina Jr., and guys like Felix Diaz Jr., and rumors of Josito Lopez going over to fight Terrence Crawford. That's a rumor. We also have Brian Castano, who's going over to fight Patrick Teixeira for the WBO junior middleweight title. So there's PBC fighters like Andy Ruiz Jr., who had just signed with PBC and had only one fight under that umbrella that was sent over right away because he was a low risk, high reward situation. It's a great opportunity for these fighters that are in the lower level of the PBC brand to go over and make a very good chunk of money, because it's low risk, but it's also high reward if they become victorious and bring back titles to PBC. But when it comes to their higher level fighters, their top A-level fighters, these guys are free agents and they're not tied to any promoters or any network over at PBC. PBC is just a company name where Al Heyman is an advisor for all of his fighters. He's not the manager, so they say. He's not the promoter. Even though he acts like all of these jobs, he holds the title as advisor and he gives advice to all these fighters. So when an offer is sent over to Jermall Charlo through email saying that, hey, this is the fight that we're offering for this amount of money, it's more than you ever made before, whether it's in the ballpark of $7 million, something that Mikey Garcia was also offered, and he was a high-profile fighter for PBC, a 4-division world champion, a future Hall of Famer that decided to go over and take the $7 million payday for a one-fight deal so that he can go over there and help DAZN with a profile fight, because, you know, he is a name and he has a very strong Mexican following that are going to tune in to see him fight on DAZN. So we know what DAZN is trying to do. They're trying to get profile names like Deontay Wilder, Gervonta Tank Davis to all fight on their network, even if it's one fight, because it's going to draw a lot of eyeballs. It's going to have a lot of people subscribe to their network so that they could be able to build their fan base. They could be able to build their viewing power. But, you know, PBC is not willing to help the competition. And I understand that. But Demetrius Andrade and Eddie Hearn have said already multiple times that they're willing to go over to PBC networks like Showtime or Fox to fight Jermall Charlo over there. They're waiting for a counter offer. They're waiting for an offer from PBC or from Jermall Charlo to get PBC behind them with the money to offer Demetrius Andrade the fight. Because both of these guys have been avoided by Canelo Alvarez, who doesn't want to fight either one of them, and have been avoided by Triple G, who also does not want to fight either one of them. So these guys need each other right now. They're fighting nobodies. On the PBC side, there is no middleweights out there for Jermall Charlo. And on the DAZN side, you know, Demetrius Andrade just signed a deal for a 4-fight extension with Eddie Hearn. Now, a lot of people would be saying, you know, why did he do that? Why didn't he go to PBC? I'm pretty sure that PBC wasn't offering a money deal for Demetrius Andrade to go over. Demetrius Andrade is happy where he's at, where he's making good money. What he's not happy about is he's not getting the big fight opportunities. The same way Jermall Charlo is getting good money with PBC, fighting the guys that he's fighting, but not getting the big opportunities. It works both ways. You know, these guys need each other. You know, Jermall Charlo looking at somebody like Chris Eubanks Jr., who has a bogus secondary title, an interim title, a guy that's not even a caliber fighter, you know, that's worthy of a shot of the middleweight crown that Jermall Charlo has. It should be for the most money that's possible in the pot. If DAZN and PBC go into a bidding war, who is going to have the bigger budget to put this fight together between Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade to unify two undefeated champions that are multi-world champions for the biggest money pot that could be possibly made outside of a Triple G fight or a Canelo Alvarez fight, and rise their profile to where they're unified champion and coming off a big win where they're more noticeable and they have a greater opportunity to land that Canelo Alvarez fight down the road, you know, but at least make a very high payday. You know, Demetrius Andrade wants to get paid, and DAZN is willing to pay him the amount of money that he will be happy with. Is PBC going to offer the type of money that DAZN is offering Jermall Charlo? Is Jermall Charlo going to make the amount of money that DAZN is offering right now? Is PBC willing to put up that money for Jermall Charlo? These are the questions that you have to ask as a fighter. If you're not tied to a network, you're a free agent. Demetrius Andrade is not tied to DAZN. He is tied to a promotional deal with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is giving permission, and also Demetrius Andrade is willing to go over across the street to make this fight a reality. Why isn't Jermall Charlo, you know, calling for this fight? Why doesn't he want to unify? Why is his team not coming up with an offer to make this fight happen? Because it's a better fight than the Chris Eubanks Jr. This is what I don't understand. This is what boxing fans should not be arguing about, saying that we don't need them. We got better fights. You know, we got David Benavidez. We can move up to 168 pounds and challenge for the WBC title. Yada, yada, yada. The same thing that Demetrius Andrade is saying by moving up to face Billy Joe. These fights should not be talked about right now. Those are secondary options for both men, because the option that makes the most money, that's the biggest fight in their weight division at 160 pounds to unify the titles and put them a little step closer to getting a Triple G or a Canelo Alvarez fight. Sooner or later, DAZN has to force these men to take this fight, especially if they get a victory over one another and unify the belts. You know, it just makes it more and more intriguing for these men to finally fight them, you know, because the public demand is going to be even greater. You know, this is the big picture, and no one sees the big picture. These guys need each other. These guys need to fight each other. They always have the option of fighting and moving up in weight for another title belt. But right now, this is the fight that needs to be made. Give an offer to Demetrius Andrade or accept the offer that they are willing to give over at the Zone in order to make this fight. Let's get the negotiation started. You know, it all takes a phone call. The offer was already sent. You know, PBC can make the first call. Eddie Hearn, if you're listening, pick up the phone and make a direct offer to PBC, because they're saying that you have to go through them. And Jermall Charlo is not willing to speak up for himself in order to say, this is what I want. You know, let's make it happen. Because Demetrius Andrade is saying, let's get it on. But that's my take on the whole situation. Let's hope that this fight will come to fruition. Over the summer, we get to see a great unification match between two highly talented, undefeated middleweight champions. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to this YouTube channel right here, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Please hit that little red subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so you get all my notifications once I drop a new video. Hit that like button, that share button. Drop a comment. Follow me on all social media platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, all under the same name, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Look out for the new website coming soon, FightHookNews.com. I'm J. Calderon, Stan Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching, and please subscribe.